Genesis 41 through 41:36. Devotional focus verse. And Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, It is not in me. God shall give Pharaoh an answer of peace. Genesis 41:16. Samuel Morse, famous inventor of a single-wire telegraph system and co-inventor of Morse code, was never one to take glory to himself, but pointed his admirers to the source of all wisdom. Proof of that is his first telegraph message, sent on May 24, 1844, over a wire strung between Baltimore, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. What hath God wrought? One time Morse was asked if he had ever encountered situations where he didn't know what to do. He responded, More than once, and whenever I could not see my way clearly, I knelt down and prayed to God for light and understanding. Though Morse received many honors because of his invention of the telegraph, he felt undeserving of the acclaim that came his way. He said, I have made a valuable application of electricity, not because I was superior to other men, but solely because God, who meant it for mankind, must reveal it to someone, and he was pleased to reveal it to me. In our focus verse, Joseph's words to Pharaoh reflect the same spirit of humility. Like Samuel Morse, Joseph was undoubtedly greatly gifted and highly intelligent. However, he made no attempt to impress Egypt's ruler or to improve his personal circumstances by taking any glory for interpreting Pharaoh's dream. Just as he had told the butler and baker earlier, he declared to the heathen ruler that the power came from God. Humility is an essential attitude for success in the spiritual life. Any self-importance, whether based upon intelligence, abilities, material advantages, position, or the praise of others, is an obstacle on the path. Humble people are willing to have their names and talents eclipsed so that God's glory may be increased. Their attitude is, let me decrease, let Christ increase. They fully recognize that they have no ability in and of themselves and view all their accomplishments and abilities as gifts from God. God is the source, and they are only the channel. May we all have and show a true spirit of humility that glorifies God in all that we say and do. Background information. In today's text, dreams again played an important part in Joseph's life as he interpreted the dreams of the butler, baker, and Pharaoh. Approximately 11 years had passed since Joseph's brothers had sold him and he'd been brought to Egypt. Having been thrown into prison as a result of the false accusations of Potiphar's wife, Joseph was made keeper of the other prisoners. Thus, the king's butler and baker were placed in his charge when they were imprisoned. The positions of chief butler and chief baker were eminent in the Egyptian court, as the men in these positions had the responsibility of supervising hundreds of people. Only individuals from noble and well-known families were appointed. The word butler means cupbearer, and as such, he would have sampled food and drink to be certain it was safe before the king partook. In addition, he managed the court's vineyards and wine storage. The word baker means cook, so he supervised all areas of the king's food preparation. Having held trusted positions, the conversation of these men potentially taught Joseph a great deal about the political system of Egypt and the operation of the court. After these men had been in the prison for an unknown period of time, Genesis 44 says they continued a season in ward, they had dreams that they sensed were important and were troubled because there was no one to interpret them. Had they been free, they would have sought out a dream interpreter to tell them the meaning. Joseph asked the men to relate their dreams and stated that God would give the interpretation. See Genesis 48. What Joseph foretold came to pass in every detail, including the butler being restored to his former position. However, after his release, the butler forgot Joseph's request that his innocence be mentioned to Pharaoh. Chapter 41 recounts Pharaoh's dreams. The repetition and sense of foreboding that resulted from these dreams prompted the ruler to seek an interpretation. The river he dreamed about was the Nile. In Egypt at that time, cows, or kine, were symbols of fruitfulness, and corn referred to grain. The magicians and wise men Pharaoh called may have been experts in hieroglyphics, or men who studied science, the stars, and engaged in occult practices. When these men could not give an interpretation, the butler remembered Joseph. At Pharaoh's command, Joseph was brought out of the prison hastily. See verse 14. However, cleanliness, shaving of both the beard and the head, and the wearing of appropriate attire were imperative to the Egyptians, so this was quickly accomplished. As Joseph stood before Pharaoh, he again gave God all the credit for the interpretation of dreams. The Egyptians considered Pharaoh a god personified. Yet in Genesis 41:25, Joseph declared that Elohim, the supreme, eternal, and one true God, had revealed what was soon to transpire. In verses 33 through 36, Joseph followed the interpretation with detailed advice on how to prepare for the coming famine. Conclusion: a humble attitude will always make sure that the glory goes to God.
Genesis chapter 40. And it came to pass after these things, that the butler of the king of Egypt and his baker had offended their lord the king of Egypt. And Pharaoh was wroth against two of his officers, against the chief of the butlers, and against the chief of the bakers. And he put them in ward in the house of the captain of the guard, into the prison, the place where Joseph was bound. And the captain of the guard charged Joseph with them, and he served them, and they continued a season in ward. And they dreamed a dream both of them, each man his dream in one night, each man according to the interpretation of his dream, the butler and the baker of the king of Egypt, which were bound in the prison. And Joseph came in unto them in the morning, and looked upon them, and, behold, they were sad. And he asked Pharaoh's officers that were with him in the ward of his lord's house, saying, Wherefore look ye so sadly today? And they said unto him, We have dreamed a dream, and there is no interpreter of it. And Joseph said unto them, Do not interpretations belong to God? Tell me them, I pray you. And the chief butler told his dream to Joseph, and said to him, In my dream, behold, a vine was before me. And in the vine were 3 branches, and it was as though it budded, and her blossoms shot forth, and the clusters thereof brought forth ripe grapes. And Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes, and pressed them into Pharaoh's cup, and I gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand. And Joseph said unto him, This is the interpretation of it, the 3 branches are 3 days. Yet within 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up thine head, and restore thee unto thy place, and thou shalt deliver Pharaoh's cup into his hand, after the former manner when thou wast his butler. But think on me when it shall be well with thee, and show kindness, I pray thee, unto me, and make mention of me unto Pharaoh, and bring me out of this house. For indeed I was stolen away out of the land of the Hebrews, and here also have I done nothing that they should put me into the dungeon. When the chief baker saw that the interpretation was good, he said unto Joseph, I also was in my dream, and, behold, I had 3 white baskets on my head. And in the uppermost basket there was of all manner of baked meats for Pharaoh, and the birds did eat them out of the basket upon my head. And Joseph answered and said, This is the interpretation thereof, the 3 baskets are 3 days. Yet within 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up thy head from off thee, and shall hang thee on a tree, and the birds shall eat thy flesh from off thee. And it came to pass the 3rd day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, that he made a feast unto all his servants, and he lifted up the head of the chief butler and of the chief baker among his servants. And he restored the chief butler unto his butlership again, and he gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand. But he hanged the chief baker, as Joseph had interpreted to them. Yet did not the chief butler remember Joseph, but forgat him. Genesis chapter 41. And it came to pass at the end of 2 full years, that Pharaoh dreamed, and, behold, he stood by the river. And, behold, there came up out of the river 7 well-favored kine and fat-fleshed, and they fed in a meadow. And, behold, 7 other kine came up after them out of the river, ill-favored and lean-fleshed, and stood by the other kine upon the brink of the river. And the ill-favored and lean-fleshed kine did eat up the 7 well-favored and fat kine. So Pharaoh awoke. And he slept and dreamed the 2nd time, and, behold, 7 ears of corn came up upon one stalk, rank and good. And, behold, 7 thin ears and blasted with the east wind sprung up after them. And the 7 thin ears devoured the 7 rank and full ears. And Pharaoh awoke, and, behold, it was a dream. And it came to pass in the morning that his spirit was troubled, and he sent and called for all the magicians of Egypt, and all the wise men thereof, and Pharaoh told them his dream, but there was none that could interpret them unto Pharaoh. Then spake the chief butler unto Pharaoh, saying, I do remember my faults this day. Pharaoh was wroth with his servants, and put me in ward in the captain of the guard's house, both me and the chief baker. And we dreamed a dream in one night, I and he, we dreamed each man according to the interpretation of his dream. And there was there with us a young man, an Hebrew, servant to the captain of the guard, and we told him, and he interpreted to us our dreams, to each man according to his dream he did interpret. And it came to pass, as he interpreted to us, so it was, me he restored unto mine office, and him he hanged. Then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him hastily out of the dungeon, and he shaved himself, and changed his raiment, and came in unto Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I have dreamed a dream, and there is none that can interpret it, and I have heard say of thee, that thou canst understand a dream to interpret it. And Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, It is not in me, God shall give Pharaoh an answer of peace. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, In my dream, behold, I stood upon the bank of the river. And, behold, there came up out of the river 7 kine, fat-fleshed and well-favored, and they fed in a meadow. And, behold, 7 other kine came up after them, poor and very ill-favored and lean-fleshed, such as I never saw in all the land of Egypt for badness. And the lean and the ill-favored kine did eat up the first 7 fat kine. And when they had eaten them up, it could not be known that they had eaten them, but they were still ill-favored, as at the beginning. So I awoke. And I saw in my dream, and, behold, 7 ears came up in one stalk, full and good. And, behold, 7 ears, withered, then, and blasted with the east wind, sprung up after them. And the thin ears devoured the 7 good ears, and I told this unto the magicians, but there was none that could declare it to me. And Joseph said unto Pharaoh, The dream of Pharaoh is one, God hath showed Pharaoh what he is about to do. The 7 good kine are 7 years, and the 7 good ears are 7 years, the dream is one. And the 7 thin and ill-favored kine that came up after them are 7 years, and the 7 empty ears blasted with the east wind shall be 7 years of famine. This is the thing which I have spoken unto Pharaoh, what God is about to do he showeth unto Pharaoh. Behold, there come 7 years of great plenty throughout all the land of Egypt. And there shall arise after them 7 years of famine, and all the plenty shall be forgotten in the land of Egypt, and the famine shall consume the land. And the plenty shall not be known in the land by reason of that famine following, for it shall be very grievous. And for that the dream was doubled unto Pharaoh twice, it is because the thing is established by God, and God will shortly bring it to pass. Now therefore let Pharaoh look out a man discreet and wise, and set him over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint officers over the land, and take up the 5th part of the land of Egypt in the 7 plenteous years. And let them gather all the food of those good years that come, and lay up corn under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities. And that food shall be for store to the land against the 7 years of famine, which shall be in the land of Egypt, that the land perish not through the famine.